The investigation. Tuesday, April 2nd, I'm sure Flanzamaton was arrested and brought to the defense ministry. And as I said earlier, I was already there April 1st and was turned over to us, a team of 19 junior investigators headed by General Kwingba Wakuna. He chaired that team. There were in fact two teams, one headed by Grady Allison. That was the hearing after we submitted reports. That's where they consumed it and made policy statements. Then downstairs was headed by Kwingba Kuna. That is where we did the actual investigation. 4 politicians were implicated in that plot. The late Baccus Matthew, Tuan Wreh, Kesselly, and Greaves. These were the 4 persons Flanzamaton said or alleged that gave him $250,000 each. And the money was deposited in a bank in Nairobi, Kenya. At the investigation, the Ministry of National Security, through me, insisted that Flanzamaton must prove, or he must show proof, that he was paid that amount of money, including the name of the bank, his account number, because the Ministry of National Security determined at the time that as a professional military practitioner undertaking a suicidal mission, we call that, when you are undertaking a suicidal mission in the military or paramilitary, they gave you your benefits, you know your beneficiaries, and everything, all of them are coded. And so we insisted that Flanzamaton produce his benefits and the beneficiaries. Because as long as he will undertake a suicidal mission, because going to attempt on the life of the president, you have no guarantee that you will survive. He failed to do that during the investigation. I remember at one point, something was wrong with me. I was much younger, so I was too hot, too crazy in my mind. At one point of that hearing, I asked, or the Ministry of National Security through me asked, that Flanzamaton's wife, Abigail Flanzamaton, be brought in at the hearings. And my other colleagues said, I should tell them, why should this woman be brought? And I said, the Ministry of National Security was not under any obligation to explain it to anyone why it wanted a witness to appear before it. However, if the witness came and anyone had an objection, they should raise the objection there and then. And General Kwingba agreed with me and ordered that a woman be brought. So the rest of us remained there arguing, and I came downstairs, the defense ministry, and I turned left towards Center Street. May his soul rest in peace. Richard Gould, my friend, he was one of those supporting me on our team. He ran after me. He was chief of intelligence at the police, because they remained upstairs. We had a common name, Back. He said, Back, follow me in his shop. There was a shop right at the defense ministry there. I went in that shop and he offered me 1 bottle of ginger ale. And he said to me, Bob, you're my big brother. We've come a long way, but the guys are planning for you upstairs. And I know my boss man, Jacob Nimlin. Once your name now in his mouth, you gotta be careful. They are saying, you think that the economic crime investigation you want to bring into this political investigation, you don't know that this is a political investigation, and once the man say the politicians are involved, they are supposed to be involved, and you are insisting that the man must show proof, these guys, if they get ready for you, you will disappear. So I took the ginger ale, and I remember telling Rachel, I said, "My man, you're giving me courage. I will stick on what is in my mind. I will insist, the Minister of National Security to me will insist that this man must show proof. If he doesn't show proof, the minister will not sign the report. If they do anything to me personally, so be it." And we went through the investigation. Thursday morning, that must have been April 3rd or 4th, we're taking Flanzamaton upstairs to Grady Allison table upstairs. And I remember vividly about 3:30, 4 o'clock, there about. Everybody was like sleeping on the table now because I don't know how the boat people call it, incommunicado. Those that were on our case, you can't go home. You stay there. You want brief, they buy brief for you. You change your honor clothes, you want change your honor clothes, they buy it for you. Nobody goes home. So you can imagine the restlessness. So by that hour, everybody was like sleeping. And Flanzamaton banked the table about 3:34 Thursday morning. And I still hear him saying, "I am ready to confess. I see the angels coming for me. They are in white. They tell me, say, if I tell the truth will set me free." Those were Flanzamaton's exact words to the team. And so I'm ready to tell the truth. One of the big security men there, I will not call his name on this microphone, please don't make me do it, was the first to speak. And I will not call his name on the microphone because he's here, he's in town, he's alive. He appeared at this hearing here before. And I expected that he would have said something about it. He was the first to speak. He said, and I quote, "Flanzamaton, shut up. As far as we are concerned, you are the late Flanzamaton." Because Flanzamaton was standing with a handcuff on him. Then Grady Allison responded to that person and said, "I will not have that. I am the chair of this hearing. I am the chairman of the joint security. If the man says he wants to confess, you cannot call him late. Please don't say that. Flanzamaton, go ahead." Flanzamaton's confession. Flanzamaton said, before he confessed, he made two pleas. He said, "I want to ask you, Mr. Chairman," referring to Grady Allison, "to please let the government continue to provide educational support for my children at convent, St. Teresa Convent School." Grady Allison said, "Consider that done." And I remember him saying too that he had children in Sierra Leone going to school and that the government should support them. Grady Allison said, "Consider it done." Then Flanzamaton said, "My first confession is I lied on the politicians." He said, "I lied on the politicians. Nobody gave me any money. They were not involved." When Flanzamaton made that statement, I began to cry. I I had my head down, and I was crying, thanking God that the inspiration he gave me 4 days ago, the courage, the spirit of boldness he gave me 4 days ago that I stuck to, that at this hour the truth was now coming up. I held my head in my hand, I cried, I sobbed, and I just quietly wept in front of myself, and the confession continued. Flanzamaton said, I called Baccus Matthew's name in this case because I know in Liberia, if you are in any trouble and call Baccus Matthew's name, it will take long time for that case to finish. It might take 2-3 weeks or maybe a month. And I thought by calling Baccus' name, this matter would have taken long. But the people downstairs gave me hard time. One bright man downstairs there gave me hard time. I don't know who he's referring to. He said, so the politicians are now involved. I asked that you're free then. That was on Thursday morning by 4 o'clock, April 4th or 5th. He said the next confession is the soldiers and SSS people you have in detention, you should release them because nobody planned this thing with me. That was his second confession, that I planned this thing alone. Nobody took part. And the reason I was not successful because I alone went on it. He said, that morning when I got to the mansion, the guy at S2 and X3 and S4 from that side, they call them, the gates. He said, there were three officers assigned there. He said, I gave them money as usual and told them to go buy something for themselves. So 2 persons left from each booth and left one person there, and they went on that side towards Paul Perry's shop. S1 and S2 on this side, he did similar thing and gave the guy money. There used to be a nightclub called the School opposite Information Ministry. That's where they went to buy the small thing to eat. And they went there, they themselves got carried away by music. And he knew Joe would be coming at that hour. So he alone sat on the truck, according to his confession now. When the car entered, he opened fire. He used the 50 caliber first because of the mechanism of that gun. Any military man will tell, as I said earlier, the bullets go in it must be conveyed. It has to be conveyed. Somebody has to be putting the feet in there. If you let it hang, only 3 go into the chamber. So if you press the trigger, 3 shots will fire. The 30 caliber got the same mechanism. If it is not conveyed, if the shots are not conveyed, they will fire only 3. And so if it remains hanging, it doesn't fire again. So he used 6 rounds on a jeep, burst the tires, brought it down flat. The SS guy had fled, and these 2 guys laying on top of the door. He took out his 45 and fired in there. So no security officers were involved with him. They should release all of them. However, I still remember him saying, the only person that I want you people to hold in connection with my act is my boss man, General Emmanuel C. He said he didn't plan the assassination plot with me. He does not know anything about it. But I want him involved because he is my boss. When I took the rights from LPMC and the people paid, he and I decided that we should buy a bus. When we run the bus and the bus gets through paying for itself, the old bus will be turned over to me and we'll buy a new one and it will be for him. So, this whole thing grew out of the rice money business. And according to Flanzamaton, I still remember he said, gentlemen, if I die for foolish pride. still remember him make that statement that if I die for foolish pride. But General C should be held because he and I benefited from the sale of the rice. After that confession, Flanzamaton was taken to the executive mansion Thursday morning, April 4th, I think. And then by 12 midday, everybody knew what has happened. Friday, April 5th, I think, the politicians were released. This is, by the grace of God, how much I remember about these two instances that I make my memorable cases in my 31 years in law enforcement and national security profession.